Hello, Joe.
Hello, Gary.
My name's Gareth Lovelock, events coordinator for Chalice Well, and we're here with Joe Hoare, who's shortly going to be running a laughter retreat here. So, Joe, tell us a little bit about who you are to start with.
Well, I've started running sort of self-development and personal development courses about probably maybe 20-ish years ago, or certainly 15 to 20 years ago, brought about as so often happens in these occasions by a crisis in my own life, when it would show quite clearly that my old way of sort of living life just wasn't working. I think the crisis that came along was about sort of 18 months of insomnia hell. And anybody who has experienced any kind of insomnia knows that it's just a really sort of dreadful place. And I wasn't able to. I knew nothing about things like sort of relaxation, for example, nothing whatsoever. So I was starting from a point where I had a lot to learn, and that point was a real sort of low point. And it was, as is so often the case, it was there was a gift there, because it was a gateway into exploring a whole new way of living.
Yeah, very good. And what led you to laughter?
It's for me, it was. It seems that we're on a journey. Right? We're on a journey, and we're heading towards this point on the horizon. And the longer we're on the journey, the further away the point on the horizon gets. Right?
Yes.
So you realise that it's not actually about sort of reaching the point on the horizon. It's about the travelling. And I sort of came across sort of the laughter material, and actually part of me just said yes. This for me is what is going to make the journey sort of rewarding and life enhancing and fun. As well as sort of resourcing, because it's like an onion. There are many sort of layers within it. And laughter is often thought of as well, there's a quadrant. Laughter can be used to distract, to cheer up, to engage, or to enthuse. And people often think about laughter as the first two, as a kind of distraction or a sort of cheer up thing. And what people often don't realise is that you can use it as a practice, i.e., for engaging, for enthusing, and energising. And you can use it as a practice, just as yoga is a practice, or tai chi, or meditation is a practice. And the definition of a practice is just is a particular sort of thing or set of things that you choose to do, and for a period of time of your own choosing, and that's what you keep your attention and your focus on. And actually, all the way around the world, both in Zen and in Huna, for example, there are sort of sets of laughter practices where what you do is you breathe in and you go, and all sorts of things follow on sort of from that, and those are kind of things that we're recovering
Fantastic.
on the retreat.
We were talking earlier, and you mentioned quantum laughter.
Yes. Quantum, the quantum world is the world where there is no separation between the observer and the experience. And what we're coming to realise now is that that actually is the way it is. That it's not sort of me and it. You can't have the experience without the observer, and the experience is influenced by the observer, and the observer is influenced by the experience. So there is a constant communication and dialogue happening all the time. So it's a world of becoming. It's a world of potential, and we influence what actually happens through how we are in relation to the thing that we are experiencing. So there's a permanent sort of flow of engagement. The laughter aspect it brings a particular it brings a particular quality to the engagement and to the experience, and it's about looking to develop, as you might say, more sort of positive sort of mindset to bring sort of lightness to the experience, open-heartedness, and appreciation, and a sense of awareness and connection, as well as that magic three-letter word, fun. Somewhere, we're on this journey. Here we are. We might as well enjoy it as much as we can.
Well, as you mentioned earlier, the horizon just keeps moving further away. So
absolutely, yes, yep.
Yeah.
And one of the things that culturally, I think, is something of a stumbling block for us, still here in the West, is that fun is something that's sort of secondary, is not as valuable and not as important as kind of work, which is sort of serious. And actually, fun makes the experience, it makes it more worthwhile, and it brings its own qualities. It helps facilitate the flow of appreciation and engagement with other people and with sort of life around us. And that is not something trivial and unimportant. One of the big challenges for us as a species, of course, is how to learn to live with each other. Well, first of all, how to learn to live with myself. Getting some sort of peace and peacefulness and some sort of here, and then being able to extend it to others, other people, and then all life, actually.
Yeah. Absolutely. And you've talked about quite a lot there, Joe. So what sort of things are going to go on the workshop to help people develop this practice?
It's good for us to remember that we are sort of physical beings as well. We have these weird things called bodies, right? and there's a whole range of benefits that come from being well embodied. It helps us to be grounded, for example, and no matter what else is going on in life, it's really important that we're grounded, so we don't just get sort of swept away in some idea or fad or whatever. So, and a really good way to be grounded is to have an appreciative awareness of our sort of bodies and body. And I've never, given that it's a laughter workshop as opposed to a suffering workshop, the body work that we do. It has a light-hearted approach to it, a light-hearted flavour to it. But it is that. So there's that. We also communicate with particularly emotion. We communicate with our bodies all the time. We are never not communicating. And so just being aware of this communication medium that we're inhabiting, is important and is helpful, and again is light-hearted, and there's lots of sort of spontaneity. So there's that. There's then a whole when you do sort of laughter exercises, we ask people to why do you laugh, or how do you feel after you laugh. I feel better. And they tend to feel better emotionally, and sort of psychologically. It's very connecting. That helps us connect with ourselves, as well as with the universe. And so by the time you do some sort of body awareness and some sort of breath awareness, and very sort of connecting and appreciation-based exercises, and sharing a moment with a fellow human being, and the kind of avatar sense of the film Avatar. I see you. And that's lovely. It's lovely to see and be seen. It can be a bit but that's fine. We all experience that. We just get through that. Underneath that is a real sense of, yeah, it's lovely. It's lovely being on this journey together.
Yeah, fantastic. So once they've developed this practice and learned how to make it work for them on your workshop, what benefits would you expect them to experience afterwards if they follow their?
Yeah, the kind of sort of comments that people make is that they feel, well, they feel more connected, right? They feel lighter, they feel more energized, they feel more alive. And there is there is this quote that's been going around for the past sort of year or so that come alive. Now, what the world needs is people who have come alive. And I think we've probably all had the experience at some point or other in our lives where something happened and we go, a real sense of yes.
Yeah.
No, that is the kind of experience that people are likely to have on the retreat itself, and if they carry on with the kinds of sort of exercise and practices which are built into the retreat, with the encouragement for us all to keep on using them afterwards, then that sense of aliveness just continues to grow. Because the important thing about a practice, you see, is if you do it enough, when you do it enough, basically it rewires our psyches. Yeah. So that's how we change from being how we were to being, that's why a self-development practice works. You have to do the practice, but then it rewires our brains, which changes our being, and suddenly, a couple of years on, you might actually find you're actually, in many ways, a completely different person from the one you were before. But you hardly remember how you were before because you got so used to being sort of your new self.
And suddenly the journey is exciting and energizing.
Absolutely. Yeah. So also people come up with a toolkit. It's like a resource kit, because we all have, from time to time, this thing called life happens. Dalai Lama has this great saying, suffering, so pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. Right? So we're all going to have moments. So these real sort of moments. And when we're having an moment, it's really good to have a nice sort of toolkit with all kinds of different things that we can use, so we can pick the right things or the right combinations of any moment to help us sort of progress, sort of as smoothly and as rapidly as possible into a state of just appreciating this wonderful sort of journey that we're on.
That's fantastic, Joe. So what we're saying really is people come along on this retreat, collect your life enhancing toolkit and enjoy the rest of the journey. Fantastic. So lastly, Joe, when is the workshop here at Chalice Well?
25th, 26th, 27th of March, and it starts on the Friday evening. And nice thing about being a retreat is you have time to sort of immerse yourself in this kind of with the practices, and also in this environment, because as a place, what a wonderful place to come on retreat. So there's magic built into the place itself before you even sort of started on any of the sort of the exercises or the
fantastic. Well, it sounds truly brilliant, Joe. Looking forward to it being held here. Thank you for spending some time with me.
Pleasure.
See you again soon, hopefully.
Wonderful.
Cheers.
Thank you, Gareth.